Hello students, today we are going to study pharmacology of antiplatelet drugs. Antiplatelet drugs are also called as antithrombotic drugs. Now as we all know that platelet aggregation and formation of platelet plug is essential for the clotting of blood. And a clot that is formed inside the blood vessel is called as thrombus. Now antiplatelet drugs, they inhibit platelet aggregation, thereby inhibiting the process of formation of clot, thereby inhibiting the arterial thrombosis. Now one thing to be noted over here is this, that in arteries, platelets are the main constituent of thrombus. So therefore the main function of antiplatelet drugs is in the prevention and treatment of arterial thrombosis in ischemic diseases. Most important of all is the coronary artery disease, which includes unstable angina. Now in unstable angina, there is formation of thrombus on the ruptured plaque. Now if there is formation of thrombus on the ruptured plaque, this results in complete blockage of coronary artery, and further it results in non-ST elevation myocardial infarction, and also it can result in ST elevation myocardial infarction. Now antiplatelet drugs prevent the formation of thrombus on the ruptured plaque, and thereby they are very helpful in the prevention and treatment of myocardial infarction. Now apart from this, antiplatelet drugs also prevent formation of thrombus in the cerebral blood vessel, and thereby preventing complete occlusion of cerebral blood vessel, and thereby preventing cerebrovascular stroke. And these drugs are also indicated in peripheral vascular diseases like intermittent claudication. Now when we talk about management of ischemic diseases, management includes first and the most important is the pharmacological approach. Apart from this, removal of blockage, that is revascularization of the blood vessel by percutaneous coronary intervention. And if there is a complete blockage of the blood vessel, then surgical placement of a vascular bypass graft, that is the bypass surgery. Now in all these approaches, various regimens of antiplatelet drugs are used to prevent reocclusion, that is to prevent again blockage of an artery. It can be a coronary artery, it can be a cerebral artery, or it can be a peripheral artery. Now this is a slide that explains physiology of platelet aggregation. Now in this slide I have shown here, this is the tunica intima, which is made up of endothelium, that is endothelial cells, these red color endothelial cells, and platelets, these are the blue colored platelets which are found circulating in the blood. Now prostacyclin, that is PGI2, and nitric oxide, these both are very strong inhibitors of platelet aggregation, and they also prevent activation of platelets. Now these prostacyclin and nitric oxide, they are synthesized by the endothelium and released in the blood. Now whenever there is damage to the endothelium, now because of the damage to the endothelium, there is fall in the synthesis of prostacyclin, there is fall in the synthesis of nitric oxide, because of which the platelets, they become activated. And apart from this, due to the damage to the endothelium, the subendothelial collagen is exposed. So these are the blue colored fibers I have shown in the diagram. This is the collagen. Now the damaged endothelial cells, they release von Willebrand factor. Now this von Willebrand factor, it binds to the collagen, and further the activated platelets, they bind to the von Willebrand factor through the GP1B receptors. So these GP1B receptors, they are found located on the surface of the platelets, and the platelets, they bind to von Willebrand factor through these receptors. Now this I have shown clearly in this diagram. This is the diagram, this is the collagen, von Willebrand factor that is released by the damaged endothelium, and this is the activated platelet which binds to the von Willebrand factor through GP1B receptor, and this results in further activation of the activated platelets. Now these platelets, they possess a receptor that is called as the GP2B3A receptor. This receptor is also called as a fibrinogen receptor. Now activated platelet releases mediators of platelet aggregation, namely thromboxane A2, ADP, that is the adenosine diphosphate, and 5-hydroxytryptamine. that is 5-HT or serotonin. So these are the very strong or the very potent mediators of platelet aggregation, and these all are released by the activated platelet. And further, these mediators they activate GP2B3A receptors. Now these GP2B3A receptors, these are the fibrinogen receptors. That means these receptors, once activated, they bind to the fibrinogen. Now fibrinogen further binds to the platelets. So this diagram here, we can see that this is the activated platelet. There is activation of GP2B3A receptor which binds to fibrinogen. Fibrinogen further binds to another platelet. Again this GP2B3A receptor, it binds to the fibrinogen. So there is formation of a platelet plug. So all the platelets they form a platelet plug. There is cross-linking of platelets, and the fibrinogen here, it functions like a glue. So there is formation of the platelet plug, which is very essential for the formation of clot, and a clot that is formed inside a blood vessel is called as thrombus. Now antiplatelet drugs act on different sites and they interfere with the process of platelet aggregation. Now we have drug like aspirin. Aspirin is an irreversible cyclooxygenase inhibitor and it inhibits the synthesis of thromboxane A2. Now a second category of drugs are the ADP receptor inhibitors like ticlopidine, and these drugs, they inhibit the platelet aggregation which is induced by the ADP, that is the adenosine diphosphate. Third category of drugs are the drugs that inhibit GP2B3A receptors, inhibitors like apixaban. Then we have another category of drugs like phosphodiesterase inhibitors. In this we have example of dipyridamole. Now talking about the classification of antiplatelet drugs, first category of drugs are the irreversible cyclooxygenase inhibitors or thromboxane A2 synthesis inhibitors, for example aspirin. Second category of drugs are the P2Y12 receptor blockers or ADP receptor inhibitors, for example ticlopidine, clopidogrel, then prasugrel, ticagrelor. Then third category of drugs are the phosphodiesterase inhibitors, for example dipyridamole, cilostazol. Then the fourth category of drugs are the GP2B3A receptor inhibitors, for example apixaban, then aptifebatide, tirofiban. Now let's talk about the first category of drugs, that is the irreversible cyclooxygenase inhibitors. Aspirin belongs to this category, and aspirin inhibits the synthesis of thromboxane A2, and thromboxane A2, as we all know, as we've already discussed, is a very potent mediator of platelet aggregation. Aspirin inhibits the synthesis of thromboxane A2 by the activated platelet. Now this is a schematic diagram that shows synthesis of thromboxane A2 in an activated platelet. Now here the cell membrane of platelets is made up of phospholipids. Now in an activated platelet, these phospholipids are broken down to arachidonic acid, and arachidonic acid is further broken down to prostaglandin G2 by the enzyme called as the cyclooxygenase, and further in the platelets is present cyclooxygenase 1. And further this prostaglandin G2 is converted into prostaglandin H2, and prostaglandin H2 is finally converted into thromboxane A2 by the enzyme thromboxane synthase. Now aspirin acetylates and irreversibly inhibits cyclooxygenase 1 in the platelets. Now aspirin also inhibits thromboxane synthase in the platelets. Now inhibition of these two enzymes, that is a COX-1 and thromboxane synthase, results in reduced synthesis of thromboxane A2. Now as we know that thromboxane A2 is a very important platelet aggregator. Now the reduced synthesis of thromboxane A2 by aspirin inhibits platelet aggregation. Now further this COX-1, that is the cyclooxygenase 1, is inhibited at a low dose of aspirin, that is 75 to 150 milligram per day. Now when we talk about the clinical uses, aspirin reduces subsequent, that is secondary, that is second time occurrence of. So aspirin reduces subsequent myocardial infarction, stroke, and peripheral arterial ischemia. Now, since aspirin is a very strong platelet inhibitor, it inhibits the platelet aggregation. It inhibits the formation of thrombus in the coronary blood vessel, preventing myocardial infarction. It prevents formation of thrombus in the cerebral blood vessel, thereby preventing secondary stroke. And it also prevents the formation of thrombus in the peripheral blood vessels. And therefore, it has a very important clinical use in these arterial thrombosis. And when we talk about the adverse effects of aspirin, the main adverse effect is the bleeding and Reye's syndrome. Now, the next category of antiplatelet drugs are the P2Y12 receptor blockers. P2Y12 receptors are the ADP receptors. These are the receptors to which adenosine diphosphate binds. And these drugs are also termed as ADP receptor antagonist. Now, this is the diagram of an activated platelet. An activated platelet changes its shape, and there's release of ADP from the dense granules of activated platelet, and that released ADP binds to P2Y12 receptors. Now, by binding to these P2Y12 receptors, ADP inhibits adenyl cyclase of the platelets. Now, inhibition of adenyl cyclase reduces the level of cyclic AMP in the platelet, and fall in the level of cyclic AMP stimulates GP2B3A fibrinogen receptors. Now, stimulation of these receptors is responsible for cross-linking of platelets, where the fibrinogen acts as a glue. Now, the drugs like ticlopidine and clopidogrel, these are the P2Y2 receptor blocker. These drugs, they block P2Y12 receptor, thereby inhibiting fall in the cyclic AMP and thereby inhibiting the activation of GP2B3A receptors. So, these drugs, they irreversibly block ADP receptors, and thus they inhibit ADP mediated activation of GP2B3A receptors, and thus these drugs, they inhibit ADP as well as fibrinogen induced platelet activation. And since these drugs, they irreversibly block P2Y12 receptors, the peak platelet inhibition is produced after 8 to 10 days of therapy, and their antiplatelet action lasts for about 5 to 7 days. And these drugs, since they inhibit the formation of platelet, since they inhibit the arterial thrombosis, these drugs, they produce very beneficial effects in the prevention of transient ischemic attacks. These drugs, they also prevent the stroke, and by inhibiting the formation of thrombus, they inhibit or they prevent unstable angina. They are found to be useful in the prevention of intermittent claudication. And these drugs, they also reduce restenosis after percutaneous coronary intervention and stent thrombosis. Now, adverse effects, the ticlopidine produces adverse effects like neutropenia and thrombocytopenia. And because of these serious effects, the use of ticlopidine has declined. Now, next type of antiplatelet drugs are the phosphodiesterase inhibitors, for example, dipyridamole and cilostazol. Now, this is the diagram of an activated platelet. Now, as we know that activated platelet changes its shape, so this is the diagram of an activated platelet. Now, in the platelet is present an enzyme called as a phosphodiesterase 3. Now, this enzyme, that is a phosphodiesterase 3, in an activated platelet, it mediates hydrolysis of cyclic AMP. And since cyclic AMP is broken down, phosphodiesterase 3 reduces the level of cyclic AMP in the platelet. And reduced level of cyclic AMP in the platelet stimulates the GP2B3A receptors. Now, as we all know, these are fibrinogen receptors. Once these receptors are stimulated, they bind to fibrinogen. Fibrinogen further binds to the other platelets, and therefore activation of this receptor is responsible for the clumping of the platelets, where the fibrinogen acts as a glue. Now, these drugs, that is a phosphodiesterase inhibitors, they inhibit phosphodiesterase 3, thereby increasing the levels of platelet cyclic MP, thereby inhibiting the activation of GP2B3A receptors, and thus they interfere with GP2B3A mediated platelet aggregation. Now, apart from this, when we specifically talk about dipyridamole, apart from inhibiting the phosphodiesterase 3, dipyridamole also blocks the uptake of adenosine by the red blood cells. Now, since it inhibits the uptake of adenosine, it increases the plasma levels of adenosine, and since there is increase in the levels of plasma adenosine, this adenosine, it stimulates the adenyl cyclase in the platelets. Now, stimulation of adenyl cyclase in the platelets further increase cyclic EMP, and further there is inhibition of GP2B3A receptors, and further there is inhibition of platelet aggregation. Now, when we talk about the clinical uses, now dipyridamole alone is not clinically useful, and dipyridamole along with warfarin decreases the risk of thromboembolism in patients with heart valve replacement. And dipyridamole is also beneficial as an adjuvant to aspirin in secondary prevention of stroke. And when we talk about cilostazole, it is useful in the treatment of intermittent claudication, that is thrombus in the peripheral arteries, that is a peripheral vascular disease characterized by limping movements. Now, adverse effects of these drugs are nausea, headache, facial flushing, and adverse effects like hypotension. Now, the last class of antiplatelet drugs are the GP2B3A receptor antagonist. For example, we have abciximab, aptifebertide, and tirofiban. Now, these drugs, they block the final GP2B3A receptor mediated cross-linking with other platelets through fibrinogen. Now, this is the diagram of an activated platelet. The activated platelet has changed its shape. Now, as we've already discussed in detail, that all the mediators that induce platelet aggregation, it can be thromboxane A2, or it can be adenosine diphosphate, or the activation of phosphodiesterase 3 enzymes, which reduces the level of cyclic EMP. All these mediators, they finally activate the GP2B3A receptor, because this is the key enzyme which is responsible for the platelet aggregation. Now, the drugs like abciximab, aptifebertide, tirofiban, these are GP2B3A receptor antagonists, and thus they block these receptors, and by blocking these receptors, they inhibit the platelet aggregation. And since they block the final GP2B3A receptor, these drugs, they are the most potent antiplatelet drugs. Now, these drugs, they are used to treat acute coronary syndromes due to the plaque rupture and the formation of thrombus, like for example unstable angina, myocardial infarction, and these are also frequently used during percutaneous transluminal coronary angioplasty, as they prevent the formation of thrombus and thus they prevent the reocclusion. Now, the main risk of these drugs is the bleeding and thrombocytopenia. So this is all about the pharmacology of antiplatelet drugs. If you find the video helpful, kindly like, subscribe and share this video. You can ask your questions by writing in the comment section. Thanks for watching the video.